Hello everyone. So where were we when we last left off? Oh yeah, we printed these and they were too big. Because we'd found the tube thing that's been cut, and we printed it out. So I had to scale it and try a couple of sizes. So I'm not gonna lie, I skipped a few bits on this video. I forgot to record them, so I went off and I played with the scales. I worked out how wide that was compared to how wide that was, and did some maths, and printed out a new end cap for it, which was this one, which looked absolutely spot on. It was slightly too small. I literally did it to exactly the millimetre scale that it needed to be to fit, so I could squeeze it on that end if I bent it a bit, but that's no good. So that was at a 91% scale. I then gave up and just went, you know what, all this maths didn't do me much good. Well, it got me to 91%. So I just guessed. I went to 92%. Can you tell the difference? Because I chuffing can't. It was literally... If I stack them on top of each other, there are fractions of a millimetre in it. But there is just enough for it to do this. And slide in perfectly. Which is great, because it means I can now sand that and paint it silver, and I've got some silver paints on the way. So, because my existing silver paints are all dirty metallics, none of them shiny metallics. This is meant to be a medical thing, so I want it to be a shiny metallic. Which meant that I needed to print out the helical, what the hell's the name for it? A viral strain. So inside the Resident Evil virus, it's a helix type class thing. So I went ahead and printed one of them. And again, because I'd worked out from that 92% scaling was right, I mean, it's come out quite nicely. I had a feeling that things weren't going to be quite right, which is why it's in the grey plastic and not the coloured plastic that I'm going to need. Because 92% was all well and good. Here's my other end cap. Doesn't quite fit into that centre bit. It's too big. Now I can sand it down, which I probably would have done if I was going to, if this was the right colour, or I can force it in there. But as you can see, one second. As you can see, one, I had a print error, so this wouldn't have done anyway. But structurally, this is quite weak. It's flimsy. And what would have happened is this would have gone into the jar. I'd superglued it shut, and those two would have decoupled like that or spiraled like that, and I'd have been pissed off forever. So I'm currently printing away a version of this that I've scaled down ever so slightly. So that's at 92%. That was at 91%. That is being reprinted at 91.5%. But what it's actually doing is, because I missed this step, is I've rebuilt it. So this was the model as it came, with just the bottom base. And obviously, if it's going to do this flex, well, that I don't want. Do not want. So I'm going to show you in Tinkercad what I did to make that a bit stronger. Because it was quite simple, I think. This is all assuming it comes out stronger. Okay, so you can see there that I've already done this, so I'm going to do it again. And this is what I had to do to modify that design. So I had my T-Virus design that I downloaded from Thingiverse. I had the model ready to go. If I'd have been sensible, I'd have got it ready to go before recording this clip, but I didn't. What I did, this is something Thingiverse apparently allows you to do quite easily, is import files. So went and found my original T-Virus model, ducked it in there, and I didn't scale it to begin with. I decided to import it at 100% scale, and then I would fix it and do the scaling in the slicing tools, because that just seemed sensible to me. Now, it's not the fastest thing to import. It does take a little while because it's got to re-render the model. And there we go. So we had our T-Virus, and you can see here that it's only capped at one end. Now,
my first instinct was to grab a cylinder model and prod it and squeeze it and poke it and make it the same as the plug below. So do that and then lift it into the right. But then I realised something. Spirals have a very cool little effect. And when you flip them 180 degrees, the spiral doesn't change. The spiral actually marries up. So I thought, well, what would happen if I just did this? Duplicate model, and now I've got two copies of the same model there. And what if I just went 180 there and flip that by 180, and lo and behold, I have a T-virus with a double cap, which is great. That means that I can just group them up and export them in the same way I did in the other video. Now, for me, this is more than long enough. But then I realised, if I ever wanted a slightly... I need to ungroup them. If I ever wanted a slightly longer virus, say that I wanted one that was the full length of those sellotape tubes that I found, all I would have to do is move it up. So I could literally go... And now I have a Super T-virus. But who would want that? There is nobody that evil in the world. Also, that wouldn't fit in my printer. It'd be a pain on supports. It would be absolutely horrendous to print out. So, yes, it's not what I did. If we undo that, what I did was that. And as you can see, it looks pretty cool. It'll have end caps on both sides, which means it'll spring up and down, but it won't have the side-to-side wobble. As always, this was then exported out to an STL. This one apparently is called Amazing Crunk. And then put into G2 box and sliced, and then that's what's in the printer now. So yeah, we'll come back in a second. Well, second for you, 8.5 hours for me. In fact, no, not 8.5 hours. At least 12 hours for me, because it's 10 o'clock at night and I've just started a print, because that print's going to run while I'm asleep. As I say, yeah, we'll come back once the print is done and hope that my random guessing of sizes has worked so that we can get our first T-virus completed, because I think my paints are in the post office and I can just go collect them tomorrow.
Okay, so it's the following morning and the prints are done, and I fucking love this new blue resin. I was not expecting this blue resin to be this damn cool. So I need to go through my cleanup process and get all supports off and see what it's come up as. And yes, I have printed 3 because I need to make at least my first one, and then I'm going to start making. I know at least 2 other people will want one. So, cleaning. Nothing has really changed. Well, actually, something has changed there, as well as my vats. Okay, so my piece, I've got one of them off, is now in a bag of IPA. Now that's a bit odd. But that's because in here, I now have this little fella. So this is an ultrasonic cleaner. And I'm told it's a really good way of cleaning off models. It was on sale, so I grabbed one. Now, reason it's in a baggie is you're not supposed to put IPA directly into these things. Now I'm reading, and that's instructions for heated ones. This isn't a heated one, so I probably could put IPA straight in there. But the safe way of doing it is I put the IPA in the bag in the cleaner, and then I top up the cleaner with water. And then the water will transfer the ultrasonics, and basically it will just brush off all of the excess resin. So I'm just going to fill it up with water and start it going. So it's a little hard to see, but you can see it bubbling up and the water rippling. And apparently that gets them cleaner than anything else. So this is the first one I've really used this on, other than a test piece, to test that the damn thing even worked. But we'll see. If I'm happy, I'll probably buy a better one. Like I said, this was on sale. Okay, so that's the first one out of the printer, and look at that. Yeah, this does seem to clear off the excess resin a lot better. This is going to get cloudy when I put it in the... oh, hang on, we've got some layer problems there. Anyway, this is going to get cloudy when I put it in the UV light to cure it, but I'm going to go clean off its sprues, get it UV'd, and then see if I can pull it back to shiny again. Okay, so these two are out of the cleanup and cure. The curing process hasn't made them that frosty. I think it actually might work frosty, but since I've got multiple, I might try and make them glossy again. I do need to sand off a bunch of these nubbins, so I don't know how that's going to... But the change that I made to the model, so obviously we have our original model and our new model. See, flippy floppy, not very good. And yeah, a lot more structurally sound, a lot happier. So now all that's left is, like I say, sand off the support structures, get the silver paint on the end caps, put the tube back on, glue them in place, and I think we'll have our first finished T-Virus. Realised as I was doing it, I've done the T-Virus first. I should have probably done T-Antidote. Oh well, surely nothing can go wrong. Right, so it's time to paint these. I still don't know what colour I wanted. So my new paints have turned up. So I have a couple of options. I have silver, I have the natural steel that I already had. But a third thing has thrown out. I have a gunmetal blue. Now I don't know what they're going to do. So what I'm going to do is, obviously, rather than risk getting it wrong first time, I primed up one of the test pieces, one of the missized pieces. So I'm going to paint all three on there and then see which looks best. Now there's also two other things. So I've also got the acrylic varnish to give it a gloss afterwards and protect it. But I actually found two. I found a gloss one and a sparkly gloss one. So this is glitter varnish and this is gloss varnish. And I don't know which would look better on this. So what I'm going to do is paint the three bits on, use that hairdryer to blast quickly dry them, and then varnish over the top of them so that I know what I'm doing when it comes to the two official ones. Okay, so even before I varnish this, I've got a personal favourite. It's that gunmetal blue. I think it needs another coat and then possibly washing over with one of the lighter ones. Or I might try it the other way around. But basically, they are going to be gunmetal blue. I don't even need to look at the varnishes. I'll take a look and work out which varnish it needs to be. But this first one is going to be gunmetal blue. This is going to be cool. Okay, so they're all varnished up, and in the blue gunmetal, they're going to look good. But I've had a thought. I bought some glow-in-the-dark powder, and I wonder what would happen if I mixed that with the gloss. I know what would happen when I mix that with the gloss. It would do that and become grainy. But if I just grab the UV torch, you can see it mixes in with gloss and stays lit up for a little while. Now, I'm going to try something and try and do it another way. What I'm going to do is lay down that leftover gloss and then sprinkle a butt ton of that stuff on. I don't need that colour for anything. So, because what I'm hoping is if I can put a decent amount in there, I can make the virus thing glow. Okay, dusting done. I'm just going to go stick it in the dark to let it discharge, and then we'll go test something. Okay, so it's fairly discharged now. This phone seems to be doing quite a bit of work brightening up. So my question is, when that's on top of it, does enough UV light get through to charge it? And if it does charge it, will it still glow afterwards? So I'm going to give it a couple of seconds blast with that on top. I think that answers the question of charging. And yes, it does still glow. So that'll be a very subtle. So if I do that with the blue powder that I've got, that should give this a very subtle blue glow. Oh, that's happening. Okay then, time to wrap up. So that's nicely wedged in there. Now I just need to put the tube on top and push it down. I'm wondering whether or not I need to super glue that. No, it's wedged enough. Okay, and the other side on top. And there we have our first completed T-Virus. It's really cool. I'm glad I skipped a step in the video. So you see here, there's difference in the spirals because I varnished one set of spirals but not the other. So the one of them is matte and the other is glossy, and that gives a nice effect. So now I'm going to charge up the UV and see if that glow effect kicks in as I expected. Oh look, a little bit of a faint glow. Very, 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 very weak, but it's there. And that's all I wanted, a little tint. I wonder if I could get that to actually go into the resin. Oh, I may have to experiment with that. Anyway, this has turned into a video all about one item, but that's fine. I'm going to call it there. This should be more than enough for whatever video. Next video, I'll probably be printing some of these, but I need to start on some of those mods that I mentioned. With that, oh, that's shook loose. Yeah, I am going to have to pull that out and glue that in. But anyway, I'm done. See you in the next video. Bye.